Hello everybody. Well, let's get started on our project. You guys are going to be making an owl, a ceramic owl. He's so cute. And you'll be able to put a pipe cleaner and hook it onto him so that you can hang it somewhere in your house. Let's see, I have another one here too that I really like. So here's another example. Okay. And the eyes and the nose, in case you can't see it, it kind of comes off. It's above, so we're gonna attach some extra pieces, which I'll teach you how to do that in just a second, okay? So let me set those owls to the side, and let's go over what we need to do today. So you will be getting a little chunk of clay. It's wrapped in that wet kind of little towel, it's just damp. And then when you get this, please do not unwrap it and start poking and squeezing and playing with it. There's something really tricky about clay. It's very sensitive. When you unwrap the clay, do not start poking it and then smoothing over that poke, because now that little hole that you made, you created an air bubble in your clay. And I hope you guys remember this, but clay has to be fired. That means I have to cook it in that kiln and that big clay oven. And when I cook it in there, it gets as hot as a volcano, so over 2,000 degrees. And when air is trapped inside the clay and it can't get out, air gets larger and larger as it heats up. So there could be an air bubble in there, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as your beautiful owl is baking, and then all of a sudden it's just gonna go pop, and it's going to explode in the kiln, okay? And I will have bits and pieces. It will be just tiny, unrecognizable usually when that happens. So follow directions very carefully, okay? This is really important, and then everything will turn out great, okay? So I've got my little piece of clay, and I'm just going to, I've already wedged it, so remember wedging it is when you have to pound it onto the table and get the air bubbles out. I know we're short on time, and so I've already done that for you guys, so there are no air bubbles in this clay. It's good. Then I would take this clay and just gently squeeze it together in your hands, and we want to get it into a sphere, right? Or like a ball shape. Okay, so now I have it looking like a sphere. Set it down on your mat, and you're going to get a rolling pin. We are going to be rolling this, and at first it's a little tricky. So you're gonna roll it this way, and then I would pause from rolling it this way, and I would change directions, and then start to, oh, let me move this, then start to move and roll this way. Okay, now take a break, go back, and roll in this direction. Now, you're going to stop rolling this clay out when you see that your clay, your slab here that you're rolling, is about as thick as your finger. Okay, so be checking that. If it gets too thin, then your clay is probably going to crack and break. So we don't want it to get too thin. I think mine looks pretty good. I like the thickness of this. It looks about as thick as my finger, that thickness right there. That's about how thick my clay is. So now that I have that, now we're going to cut it into a football shape, okay? Or like the shape of an almond. So now I'm gonna start up here. I'm gonna use just a plastic knife is fine, you guys. I'm gonna cut up here. And if you wanna draw this first, I think this helps too. If you just kind of use your fingernail and draw that. Sorry, I almost forgot that. So I'm gonna draw that shape like that. See how I just did it with my fingernail? Then, glad I remembered that. Then take your knife and cut when you like it, when you have it exactly the way you like. So now I'm gonna cut on the line. If it's not perfect, it's okay, right? Just do your best. And keep your extra clay, because you're gonna use this in just a minute for your eyes and your nose. So now, I've got this football shape, and it kind of looks like my owl. Here, let me turn it. And then if yours gets stuck to the mat, just carefully peel it off, okay? So now you're gonna have your owl like this. It's the shape of a football, okay? And now you're going to take your pencil, and I want you to take the tip of your owl, and you're gonna roll it over this pencil. Did everyone see that? Let me do it again a little slower. So you're gonna take a pencil. I'll give you guys an old pencil to use. You're gonna put it near the top of this shape that you've just made, and you're gonna roll the top over like that. Now remember, when we want something to stick, we need something that works like glue. And in clay, we can't use glue because that just doesn't work. But we have this special stuff called slip. Slip is the glue for the clay world, okay? So you have to use a fork to scratch the surface. So wherever you want things to stick together, you gotta scratch and then scratch right here because I want these two parts to stick together. Then you've got to use a brush, put some of that slip on there, the glue, put that on there, and then now when I push down on that, it's going to stick and it will stay there. Okay, you can keep the pencil in there for right now just so that I'll pull it out later when your clay gets dry, but we don't want this to crush down, otherwise you're not going to be able to hang it with this pipe cleaner on when you get these back after they're all baked in the kiln. So now I've got my owl, and now I need to draw some stuff on there. Go to the cart and grab one of these little wooden drawing sticks, and this will help you guys a lot. You can use this to draw some textures in. I'm gonna draw a curved line on this side and a curved line on this side, and that's gonna be my wings. You are welcome to draw different textures on your owl. So maybe I'll do the chest, the feathers on my chest, kind of like a zigzag right here. And let's see, what else do I want to draw? Maybe I want to make some like little polka dots on the top. I hope you guys can see this. I've got polka dots on the top of my owl. And now I told you guys you're going to need this extra clay. I'm going to form it back into a ball. So squeeze it tight. And I'm going to move my owl to the side for just a minute. I'm going to get this ball of extra clay that I have here. Use my rolling pin. I'm going to roll it flat. But remember, stop when it's about as thick as your finger. So this piece looks about as thick as my finger right now, about the same height. Okay, so I stop, and now with my little wooden stick, I'm gonna draw the two eyes. So I'm gonna make a circle, I'm gonna make another circle, and then I'm gonna draw a triangle. So I have a beak. If you want any extra little things, sorry guys. If you want any extra little pieces for, you know, anything that you want, maybe you want to put a little bow on your owl or something, you guys can use the extra pieces for whatever you like. Then take your knife and cut out those shapes that you just made. So I've got one eye, and if it's hard to get it off the mat, use the knife. Put the knife under there because it's kind of sticking, and get it off like that. And now you can use your finger to smooth out the outside of this eye. So the edges came out a little rough. And I'm going to use my finger and get it nice and smooth. So it's just the way I want it. There's one eye. And now I'm going to cut out this circle. There we go. And if it's stuck to the mat, just remember, put your knife under there and then pop it off. And now look at the edges. It looks really rough. It doesn't look very good. So now take your finger, smooth that out, and get that so that it looks just the way you want it. Now I've got 2 eyes and I need my beak. So triangle here. And I'm going to remove the clay around the triangle. Now, when I go to pop it off with my knife, there, it comes off a little bit better. And this one too has some marks that I don't like, so I'm going to smooth that out and make it so it looks just the way I want. Got it. Okay, so now I have my parts done. Let me bring my owl back into the picture here. But now I need to attach these. Remember, you can't attach anything unless you use glue. The glue is this slip. So before you use the glue, you have to scratch the surface. I have to scratch my eyes with my fork, and I have to scratch the owl where I want to put the eyes. So I want one eye over there, one eye over here. Oh, let me scratch the back of this eye. Scratch, scratch. And I've got to scratch where I want to put the beak. So and then I have to scratch the back of the beak. Now it's time to add glue. Glue right there, and glue where my beak is going to go. Then I'm going to put glue on my parts too, so it will actually really stick good. I'm going to push that down on top of the glue. Okay, and push down, not so hard that you smush it, but do add some pressure. If you don't add any pressure, it might pop off. So I'm going to push down so it really sticks. Being gentle though. There, a little glue on the back of that eye. Pushing down, and voila! I've got a really cute owl. Now, if you want to use that stick to draw maybe some extra details on your eye, maybe you want more detail on your wings, it's totally up to you, whatever you want to do. Or you can leave them smooth. Then you might want to smooth out the edges of your owl. So smooth this kind of edge and on this edge. And you're almost done, but there's one thing missing. Your name. If you said name, you're right. Gently, very gently, flip it over, and then I'm gonna write my name. I'm just gonna do Mrs. C. Okay, and I'm gonna go and put this on the cart to dry, and it will just stay there. You can even leave the pencil in. I can take those out tomorrow when I get to work. Okay, so leave it just like that. And then if there's any areas that you don't like right now before you put it on the cart, smooth it out with your finger, get it just right so that you really like what it looks like. When it comes out of the kiln, nothing changes except for the fact that this will be hard and it will be white. Okay, so all those little cracks that you see and stuff on there, it doesn't get fixed in the oven. So if you don't fix it now, it won't be fixed. Okay, so your owl is done. You guys are going to do a great job, and I cannot wait to see these.